What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't been making videos for the past week or so. Obviously with the holidays, I've just been kind of taking it slow. Not that I haven't been trading. I'll show you some of the trades that I made the past few days. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hopefully, I have been planning to trade more in the new year. So, hopefully what's going to happen is that I'll start streaming live and while I'm trading. So the biggest problem with that is that my computer is not necessarily the best. So I'm hopefully going to try it out for a few days, see how it works, if I can, you know, effectively stream online. And I'm watching BNGO right now. It's kind of going crazy. I've been kind of watching it. It's the one stock I've been trading today. Um, so the biggest issue right now is that it's extremely overextended, and I've been kind of waiting for a pullback, and I got this pullback to 250, and I just hesitated. I don't know why. I knew this was going to be a good area to buy, and I just hesitated, and I didn't. And that's one of the big things about trading is that you have to kind of follow your instincts and be willing to take the risk. That was the problem. This stock kind of drives me nuts because of how it got me today. I'm basically break even on it, and I should have been really green. Like, it should have been a really good trade, but the problem is that I got in with bigger size on my first trade, and it kind of faked me out real quick. So I'm just kind of watching it here, see what it does. Obviously, it looks nice because it keeps popping up, but then it is overextended. It's been overextended for a while, so it really hasn't had the proper reversal pullback. It's just kind of giving you someone to, like, this was a 5-minute pullback here, but it hasn't really pulled back. It's way overextended. The VWAP's down at 230. It's trading at 280s. In the 280s, it's not that I don't think it can run, because it could definitely go up and break 3, but I just think that $3 is the area where people are going to be shorting it. If I wanted to get long on it, I'd want a dip to 270, 255, something like that, so I can get long with a decent stop, right? Like you want to have like a 25-cent stop or something like that on this kind of stock. You don't want to be buying way the hell up here, and then you're like, oh, where's my stop? Is going to be the VWAP. That's like a 30% loss, right? You don't want to have that kind of loss, because there's really no resistant support levels where you can say, hey, like 250, I guess you could use as a stop getting in up here, but then it's, if it starts really reversing, you're going to be in trouble. So I don't like to buy it up at these levels. I like to wait for a pullback. If you don't get the pullback, then it just doesn't happen. That's one of the ways that you can, and honestly, what I would normally do is short it at this level. I would short it at around this price here with a stop at $3. So I've already tried to short it earlier. I was trying to short it a little bit when I thought it at this level. So I know there's not shares available, because you can see the resistance levels forming at that kind of 240 level. So my initial trade on it was kind of an attempt at a dip bounce down here towards the VWAP. So what I was doing was buying it basically right at the volume weighted average price. As you can kind of see, as when I bought it, it was basically dipping down from 240 all the way down to around the 210 mark, and then it kind of held support at 216 for a minute there. So I waited, gave it a minute to try and see if it could break up and maybe retest that level, and it couldn't. So then I just stopped out, and I took bigger size on this first trade than I did on the second trade, which was kind of a mistake. And it's one of those things where I wanted to add to this trade, but because I realized when I got into this trade with about half the size, it was holding support. So it started to hold support. You started to get buying these wicks here. You started to get buying momentum here coming in. So in my mind, it's like, crap. So I was actually trying to like reload up here towards the 220 mark, and I was going to reload at 220, which I should have. But it ended, by the time I was like, oh, I should buy, it looked like it might pull back, and then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. And that's the indecision. It's what hurts you, right? In trading, you have to be decisive. You have to just make those moves, just like here at 250. I needed to buy that dip, and regardless, and then just, if goes to the VWAP, it goes to the VWAP, and you stop out. But at least you're giving yourself the best chance for upward momentum. It's just like you don't want to go buy it now at 290, and then you're buying it at the top of the move. More likely, people are shorting it here with a stop at $3, like I said, and this is probably going to come down, and it could reverse now. It could just turn into a short for the rest of the day even. So you don't want to be buying at these levels. Obviously, if it comes down and holds support around the 250 level or even at the VWAP, then we could be looking for another long trade on it. But yeah, so the second trade I ended up taking, I saw it kind of holding VWAP again, and so I took another stab at it right at VWAP 214, basically right at the volume weighted average price, knowing that my stop was about 210. If it broke here and then broke 210, I'm out. So I held it, gave me basically some consolidation above the volume weighted average price, and then it gave us a rip higher, and and I sold around the 230 level. So I basically, caught a nice 16-cent winner, which at that level is almost 10%. It's about 8%, 7.5%, 8%, which isn't bad. That's a decent trade. It was actually a nicer, like this was a smaller loss, but because I was in with bigger size, it was a bigger loss than this. So I made the money back that I lost here on this trade, but it was kind of unfortunate because, like I said, if I would have just taken the same size that I'd taken in this trade, which I really should have, it was kind of a mistake on my own part. Like I didn't realize, because I was switching around from different stocks, and I didn't realize what the quantity I had. So instead of having like the 300 quantity, I ended up only having like 180, I think it was, or 200, because I was going to trade, which I was looking at another stock. So unfortunately, when I filled, I was like, oh crap. I thought, I kind of thought I was in for 300. So then I was like, oh, I'm up. And then I looked, and I'm like, oh shit, I only bought like a half position. I'm like, damn it. So like basically what I made back here was basically what I lost on this trade. So it's one of those things. And the crazy thing is, if I would have just held this 300 at 216 right here through this dip, I would have been profitable basically the whole time. I could have held it and basically just been holding this whole move. But you don't know that, right? You want to trade ranges. You want to be able to take your profit when it's there. Like I said, I was going to get back in on any of these, dips. I should have got back in at, the 250 mark here. I didn't, unfortunately. So that's that. What can you do? So I wanted to look at some of the stocks that I've been trading the last couple of days, and I honestly don't even really remember what stock I was trading yesterday. Let's see. I have to go into my executions, and I have to go 5 days. What the hell? Might be trying to break. We'll see. Like, I don't understand why it's not showing me. It's just showing me today. Whatever. Alright, so OXBR and 10X, right? Right. And AQMS. Okay, cool. So those are the stocks that I was trading the last couple days. So yesterday it was, I think, both 10X and OXBR. Both ended up being losing trades. So with OXBR, it was a similar thing to what happened here. It was just I was too early to the move, and I basically bought when it was reversing, hoping that it would hold at the volume weighted average price. It obviously didn't. So I lost about 10 cents on that. It was, nothing crazy. Like I like to, hold my stops, respect my stops. But it just sucks because, obviously if, an hour later this thing rips, and, if that would have done that here, it would have been a nice move. Obviously, I had stepped away at that point, so didn't end up catching any of that move, but it was unfortunate. I also couldn't short. I actually thought about going short on it, but I wasn't able to get shares to short on it. So that was kind of that trade there. It was just kind of one of those, let's see what happens. Let's see if it holds the VWAP. And that's one of the things, like I did on BNGO here. Just been trying to play those VWAP strategies. But I find they've been more consistent in pre-market, to be honest, than they are, you know, during the actual open and through market trading hours. It's just inconsistent. BNGO has been pretty good today. You just had to have a kind of a bigger stop, so maybe using like 195 or a break of $2 as your stop has to be right instead of the volume weighted average price, and then you'd be able to hold a lot of these moves, which is the one thing you kind of want to give it room below the VWAP, because sometimes it does give you that kind of downward pressure and then consolidation in that VWAP reclaim, which you can see, you know, it did on OXBR and again on BNGO here, very, you know, very slightly. And you can see it's still up at the 290 level, just fighting. It tried to break towards 3, couldn't, and you know, it looks to me like it's gonna pull back. And this is where I would definitely be shorting it if I could get shares. Yeah. So that's the other thing, is I've been looking into Trade Zero, so that I could actually have an account where I could get more fills on my shorts, because a lot of times I just can't get the locates. A lot of these stocks that I'm trying to trade, they just don't. My broker just doesn't have shares to short a lot of the time, so almost all of these stocks, you know, I ended up not being able to short them, which kind of screws me over, because then I end up having to look for trades that are not as ideal, or at least as clear to my setup as I want. So again, the other trade yesterday was 10x, and it was kind of the exact same thing as OXBR, buying, you know, at the VWAP. After you see this VWAP reclaim, it breaks down, looks like it might break lower, and then it's able to reclaim the VWAP, gives you a 1 minute and then a 2 minute pullback, and I bought kind of right at the VWAP, hoping for that bounce, but obviously it didn't give us that, so I ended up stopping out. Unfortunate, because like you see over here, it does do another VWAP reclaim and then immediately shoots up, you know. And I think the biggest thing here that I was kind of looking at and thinking to myself, you know, this is a good learning tool right here to see, you know, what the biggest problem was. Is on this VWAP reclaim, you can see you have this 1 minute pullback and then it kind of dips below it. So I think one of the things to look at is when you have this VWAP reclaim and then this 1 minute pullback, you want the next candle to push higher than that 1 minute pullback. And if you can get that, then maybe like buying, you know, like here at 255 is a good level. So that's something to keep in mind, that like, you know, maybe when I was kind of being too I wasn't paying too much attention to the chart to understand that when this dipped, this second dip was a rejection rather than a 1 minute pullback or a 2 minute pullback. It was more like a rejection of the VWAP reclaim. So just something to keep in mind. You know, it was another one of the trades from this week, but you know, was unfortunately a losing trade. AQMS was a better trade. This one was on Monday, and on Monday it was more, you know, with me, a lot of times it's the short strategies that I'm more comfortable with, that I kind of have used more, and that I've kind of got more confidence in using. So a lot of times I feel more confident in a short trade than I do in a long trade, which is a lot of times why you'll see on like BNGO, you know, I don't want to hold through these dips below the VWAP, because I've seen a lot of like rejections, and I just, you know, going long, I'm not as confident holding as I am going short. Obviously in BNGO it would have been great to just hold, but still even on it, you know, unfortunately, even though I was basically right on both of the trades that it was going to go higher, I just it just was able to fake me out on the first trade. Second trade was a nice trade, was profitable on it, but like I said, I ended up taking half size, so kind of unfortunate there. On AQMS here, it was one of those things where I took what was like, I don't know, like an initial position here short, looking for the rejection at the VWAP. I saw it kind of was able to break the VWAP, but then you had a ton of resistance, so I was in again with another short at 328, so kind of right at that VWAP level, and just knowing that my stop now was more towards the 350, so if it could break above 350 I would be out, and you could see it almost did. But this candle here, is a good indication of selling pressure. So this, as soon as this broke above, both of these are showing, a lot of selling pressure, and then it was able to break, but then it broke down, and then it was able to break up, and I was getting scared here, but this candle really confirmed to me that it was going to be a short, and that I needed to just hold this position as it was going to reject. Basically, with a stop being the top of that candle at 344, and that gave me the confidence to hold. And this is like when I said I feel confident holding my short trades more than my long trades a lot of times, and this is the reason why, because I feel like when you see something is weak and there's a lot of weakness, and even though it gives you that quick VWAP reclaim, you see the weakness coming into it, so then you're just holding it knowing that you're probably going to get a rejection, and we did. So I held it basically for this entire downward move until we got to about the $3 mark, and I covered at 303, knowing that there was a little bit of support coming in at $3 mark. Obviously the whole dollar of $3 is a pretty nice, pretty good level. So I almost got 30% off the top trade there at 328 down to 303. Not a bad trade at all. Obviously holding to 290 would have been the better trade, but you could see it reclaim 3 and then basically held 3 the rest of the day. So you don't necessarily know how far down it's going to go. You want to take your profits when you get them, and that's what I did there on AQMS on Monday. So that was that trade. Yeah, I made a few trades last week. Nothing crazy. I've really just been kind of consistently decent or break even, other than yesterday when I had a decent red day. Not a huge one, 40 or 50 bucks on the 2 trades with 10x and OXBR, which just didn't do what I wanted them to do, and they were both long trades. And like I said, OXBR did end up doing what I thought, but an hour later. So that's just what happens, right? And sometimes you gotta be willing to take those opportunities when they're there. Man, I wish I would have bought that 250 bounce. I was looking for it the whole time, and I was waiting for it, and then it came, and then I just kind of, sometimes you're like a squirrel in the headlight. You're like, it's doing what I think, but then you're like, oh crap, it could break below, and then it doesn't, and you still, But this is, like I said, people are shorting it because at $3 is your topping range. You saw the RSI, you were really hitting the top of that level. And you can see over here when it broke to the top of that level, it immediately got rejected back down. So you're probably going to see another downward move here into the low 270s, maybe even 260s. We might get a bounce off 250 again. We'll see. Do I want to take it long? It's possible, but I'm today's kind of one of those days where everything's kind of trading sideways, and if I was able to short, I was trying to short like almost every stock today, so what do we got here? So IPDN. So I was trying to short this thing up here in these ranges. So at this last candle, so even up here at like 450, I was trying to short. Couldn't get shares to short. So BTVT, I was thinking of shorting that. I could have gotten shares to short, but it's really done nothing. I was gonna short it at like 13, or up here at like 1330 with a hoping for a break, but it really hasn't done anything. So it really wouldn't have been a great trade. On INDO, this is the one I really was wanting to short because I knew there was no news, there's no reason. This and CNFR were 2 stocks today that I was really, and this is one of the reasons why I want to get Trade Zero, because these are the trades that I really can predict from almost like pre-market. I wanted to short. I knew this was going to be a short, and you can see this rip pre-market and really on no news, and up to be like almost 300% or 200%, right? 5 to 15, and then it breaks down below VWAP, tries to reclaim towards 13, 14, breaks down again, tries to reclaim towards 12. You can just see the downward motion, right? It wants to go down. It's not able to break the VWAP. Right out of the gates, you had kind of an immediate, you had it push up, and this is, probably what scared a lot of traders today, was because this thing pushed up out the gates to almost $12, and then in one candle, probably in about 30 seconds, less than that, maybe 20 seconds, rejected all the way down to 10, 980 and got halted. So from 12 to 980, halted, going down. Reopens down to almost what 875, halted again. So this is two halts to the downside, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to short it in this move up, up towards the $10. $10 was about the area I was trying to short it. So in this area here. So even if it would have gotten halted and gone up again, I would have probably still held this move, knowing that in almost all reality, it's going to reject and it's going to fade because there's no news, there's no reason for it to be up over 100%, almost 200% on the day. So anything above $10 is a short, and even here when it rejects and then tries to reclaim, this was another halt here, halted to the downside again, and it got halted a bunch to the upside here, halted here, halted here. So two halts to the downside, two halts to the upside, one halt to the downside. Yeah, so like 5 or 6 halts in an hour period, and it just looked weak, and it looked like it was going to be weak. So as it popped up here, towards $11, I was trying to short it anywhere in this range, and I would have held. It would have been a nice trade, but unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't get shares to short. So I'll show you so you understand when I say. I'm not just saying this, like these are actual orders that I put out. So you can see INDO failed short at 1095. So at 1095, where's it trading? So it's right here. So I'm trying to short at this level right here. You can see basically at the top of the move. And if I hold this down to $7, that's $4 move, almost 50%. Right, and I knew it was going to happen. Same with IPDN, same thing. Failed IPN, trying to short at 403. What's IPN? It's down to 370, right? That's 10% move right there. I was trying to short BNGO as well, like I said. CNFR was the other big one. CNFR today was like, I want to short this thing so bad, and you can see pre-market it did the same thing INDO did, and both of these stocks have really, really low floats, which is one of the reasons why you got to be careful with the shorts, because they've gone parabolic, especially the last couple days and weeks. We've seen some parabolic moves with these really low float stocks. So you got to be careful. And that's one of the reasons why I was being careful. Well, I would have been careful if I would have got fills to short either of these, CNFR or, and I was trying to short CNFR at 427. So we can see, we can see where it is now, down towards the 350 level. I was trying to short it at 427, which is in this range right here. So I shorted here at 427. It basically just goes down the rest of the day, right? And now being, hitting a low of like 350. So I probably sell from 427 to 350, sell in this range, and just come up with a nice, gain if I was able to short. And that's one of the problems with Questrade is that it's hard to short a lot of penny stocks. And I get it. They're volatile. You can lose a lot of money shorting them. But because I feel more confident on the short side, it's hard for me not being able to get fills on a lot of these stocks, because I know I feel more confident and I kind of have more feeling as to where they're going to go on the short side. So you can see BNGO up here is fading, and you can see all the time in sales that really there's a lot of buying pressure coming in at 275, but there's a ton of selling pressure. And because this thing has been so overextended for so long, the selling pressure is taking over, and you can clearly see that. And so you're going to see a downward momentum. And like I said, this is why I would have wanted to short it up here at 290 in the 290s, shorting it with your stop being $3, the top of that move, and just knowing that you're probably going to have a reversal or retracement at least down to 250, maybe towards the VWAP. And you just kind of want to and this is one of the reasons why I like, because I can predict short trades a lot more easily than I can predict long trades. Long trades are kind of like, it should do this, but it might not. Whereas with short trades, you can get in at 290 with a tight stop. Whereas 250, you're getting in at 250 hoping it holds, and then this candle rejects, goes down to the VWAP and crushes down to 220, and you just lost 30 cents. When you're going long, it takes a lot more pressure to break $3 than it will to break the 250 mark and go down when it's already overextended on the day, right? So that's just some things to keep in mind. If I do end up making another trade on BNGO, I will let you guys know. But other than that, I'm pretty much done for the day. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me know what you guys think. And please feel free to follow me for the next couple weeks. Because like I said, in the new year, my resolution has been to trade more on live streams. So I want to do some live streams and start actually streaming for you guys while I'm trading. So hopefully I'll go live, around 8:30 or something, and then trade till like around this time, or we'll see what happens whenever I trade for the day. Some days I trade long, some days I trade short. It really depends on how much I make, how much I lose, or how I feel, or what I have, if I have a lot of stuff going on. But for the most part, for the next month, I hopefully will be doing that, and I want to get, like I said, a Quest Trade account going so I can start trading there. So hopefully I'll get that open in the next few weeks, and yeah, hopefully this next month I'll be able to be more consistent and trade for you guys almost every day. And other than that, like I said, please like, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.